Being a kid was wild because you used to have people lie to you about nonsense for no reason. Like, oh yeah, I just saw a DBZ that had all cursing and Goku bled real blood. Oh, for real, man? My big cousin showed me how you can get infinite money in Pokemon. For real, for real. Man, my uncle works for Nintendo. That's one that's a little bit too universal. So today, let's talk about the uncle who works for Nintendo.
I ain't your uncle, I'm your auntie. Now go subscribe one time for the one time. Be sure you hit the bell. Thank you, baby.
The uncle that works at Nintendo is an urban legend, but it is also a video game created by Michael Lutz in 2014. It's more of like a horror visual novel, but like, that's not disrespect or disparaging. That's just letting you know you're going to be doing a lot of reading for this one. For the gameplay footage that I recorded, all you're going to really be doing is seeing the visuals that I'll be clicking through. The game features multiple endings. And I think the best way for you to experience the game is to go play it yourself. So I'm going to put a link in the description so you can play it. As far as the plot goes for this game, well, we could break that up into the various endings. So to begin, Storyline 1. So you go over to your friend's house, it's a sleepover. They got all the new games. They family makes you dinner, so you just vibing, you chilling. They say they uncle coming through. You like woo woo, it's whatever. Eventually, you get bored of playing games. You start jibber jabbering with your friend, and they uncle shows up, and then Route 2. Run. That was weird. Anyway, you go over to your friend's house, they family invites you for food, it's all good. It's a sleepover, you do some jibber jabbering, you play some video games. You start chatting with your friend about their uncle coming to visit. Their uncle work for Nintendo. It is what it is, and then the clock strikes 12 and things are kind of weird. So you go ahead, you slip off to the bathroom. As you wait in the bathroom, things don't feel right. That uncle comes in. Part 3. Nah, that was weird. So anyway, you go over to your friend's house, you spend the night, you want to kick it. Your friend's family, they make you food, it's cool or whatever. Your friend jibber jabbering about their video games. Y'all talk about school. And, the vibe kind of off, all things considered. You know what I mean? Like, your friend kind of on some weirdo mode type things. So, you say, nah, we out. You call your mom and you head out. You don't even really say goodbye to them. You just like, yo, deuces, we out. Then you hear that they moved away. Huh. That's strange.
Universe 4 and 5.
Alright. The last few times have been weird, but you go to your friend's house. It's a sleepover. They family made you some food. Food's whatever. You talking with your friend and you remember that they had a Mew. They Mew was weird. It was like doing things that Mew shouldn't be able to do. People stopped playing Pokemon because of your friend. And when you got Mew, your Mew was nothing like Mew, right? So it was weird. They got theirs from their uncle. You start asking them about that uncle. You start remembering, didn't they have a brother? What is going on? Also, didn't they used to be your neighbor? So you start bringing up all these questions and they start getting heated with you. Now here is where you can diverge a little bit. You can either let them swing or you could, hit them first. By the way, it don't go good. If you choose to chat with them a little bit more, you can figure out how they feel about video games, maybe why they was motivated to be the way that they are. But either way, that ain't got really much to do with you, because if they swung on you or not, you still gotta head home, because this ain't the vibe. Until you hear that their house burned down. That's really strange. So you go after school and you check it out, and you see that Game Boy is there. Now, do you pick it up or do you leave it? If you leave it, you kind of forget about your friend. But if you pick it up, you find out that your uncle got a job for Nintendo. All right, wait, where are we? If you made it to this part of the game, that means you done beat the game 5 times at this point. You've lived, you've died, you've run away. And now you get to see the culmination of your efforts. You get to see what's been manipulating your friend and how friendship, unity, solidarity, these elements are how you can beat this monster. The uncle who works for Nintendo becomes less of an eldritch abomination and more of just like a pitiable, useless, pathetic demon that is easily banished and driven into the sea. Solidarity isn't easy, especially with somebody who was willing to sell you out to a demon. So it might take a few playthroughs or something like that. But once you do it, once you're able to free your friend, what happens then? The uncle who works for Nintendo. It's an urban legend. It's a creepypasta. It's a video game, an interactive novel, however we want to call it. It's a snapshot of history. Nostalgia does terrible things to people's perception. Because, yeah, there are a lot of good memories associated with video games, but those good memories oftentimes paper over what was the reality for a lot more people. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I have good memories playing these video games, but it's like one of my favorite games, Def Jam Fight for New York. All of the women are just there to be your girlfriend, and that's it. There ain't no gay people in Def Jam Fight for New York. You can't be a girl in Def Jam Fight for New York. You look back on old video games, it's like, hey, can I play Pokemon as a girl? Not till Pokemon Crystal. And it's like, simple things had oversights, you know what I mean? Think about for like black characters. I brought up Def Jam Fight for New York, but even in like 2K, Madden, games where you can create your own characters, look at the hairstyles that they got for you. It's like, are we serious? This like Lego block afro, these dry braids, these crusty dreads, that's all you got for us on folk? I remember playing Dragon Age, and it's like, the darkest you can be is like light tan, and the closest that you can get to like black hairstyles are like the worst braids I've ever seen. And I don't say all of this to whine and complain and etc., etc. You know how people like to write off complaints and such, but more so to remember that it wasn't all good. History isn't just everything was always good until these people came in and made video games bad. There were always shortcomings. There were always failings. And what I like about the uncle who works for Nintendo is the fact that it does remind people of who gets left out sometimes when we talk about video games. While they ain't really talking about race in this game, I grew up black. I grew up around black people. I remember what it was like being a nerd, and it wasn't always sweet. You know what I mean? Not that being a nerd was the main thing that I was getting bothered about. Nah, it was the blackness, it was the gayness, it was the black gayness on some real stuff. But when we really talk about history, we got to deal with that. We can't just wish things were perfect and then project that into reality, because that's not reality. That's fantasy. You hear me? And I think that the author / developer for this game did a really good job in embracing the fictional with the historical, creating a nice eldritch horror, but also bringing in some social commentary that was very poignant, you know? Especially at the time. 2014, Gamergate, people going crazy because too many black people, too many women in video games. We've been there. We didn't see that. Women always were in video games, and people started getting weird about it all of a sudden because it was a culture war issue. But now, look at where we at in 2025. We still fighting the same culture war, and it ain't getting no better. But you hear people sell it. Games were good until women. Games were good until black people. And it's like, we was always here though. And the uncle who works for Nintendo does a good job of being a touchstone, being a nice little save point, if you will. Like, hey, it's been like this for a minute. It's probably going to be like this for a minute. History matters type things. The horror is nice. The commentary is better. But that's just my opinion. Have you played the game? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, what's your favorite indie game? I'm DUN, and I'm done yapping. Deuces.